Well, guys, if you're a Georgia fan or you're an Alabama fan, you cannot deny that was a great half of football. You had Alabama; they fell down short early. Georgia jumped up to a 7-0 lead. Then you had Alabama come back. They scored a field goal, and they scored a touchdown to make it 10-7. And then they have another touchdown. Jalen Monroe passes to Jermaine Burton for a touchdown. So 17-7 going into halftime. Alabama fans, Georgia fans, in the comments, whatever you want to do, go ahead and rant. I know everybody's mad. I know everybody is tired of hearing Gary Danielson talk. I know everybody's tired of hearing Brad Nessler talk. I don't personally think they're that bad, but some people disagree. So go ahead, let out your anger. Jalen Monroe, 6 of 12 in the first half, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, although he didn't start out too great, going 3 of 9. Then you had Carson Beck going 9 of 12 for 91 yards and has taken a sack. Jalen Monroe, he's been sacked twice, but the offensive line is playing some fantastic football. You cannot deny that. The offensive line, not what I expected at all coming into today. Last week you had them. They really played well against Auburn, but this week you're playing a far superior defensive line. So I didn't expect that. But Tyler Booker and company, they are rolling right now. The double teams you saw earlier on in the game, Tyler Booker literally, it almost looked like he threw a Georgia defensive lineman. I mean, it was bad. But what I'm expecting to see coming out in the third quarter, I do expect Alabama to start running the ball, utilizing what's his name? Well, of course, my mind goes blank. Roydell Williams. You got to utilize Roydell Williams a little bit more. I think you need to utilize him. He's got 8 runs in the first half. Now, for 41 yards, if you capitalize on that and if you keep doing it, then the run game for the quarterback opens up. You have Jalen Monroe. If he can sneak out around the corner, he's been doing that, guys. And if they can keep on doing that, they're running with 3 guys or 2 guys at the running back position right now, and that's Roydell Williams and Miller. So if they can continue to keep those guys rolling, continue to keep those guys healthy, then this is Alabama's football game to lose. I mean, it's Alabama's game to lose right now. But if you continue to watch the game and if you continue to watch these guys play, look, Roydell Williams is a monster. And I don't think many people are talking about him because, well, he's been the backup to Jace McClellan. Jace McClellan's been good this year. I'm not discounting him at all. But Roydell Williams has come up for the Crimson Tide when it has mattered, and that's just a fact. That's just a fact of the matter. You have Miller. Miller's good, but once you have Roydell Williams running, once you have him rolling and in a groove, he's just give him the rock and let him do the rest. There was I think it was Miller actually running the ball. It might have been Roydell Williams close to the end of the first half where it was 4th and 1, maybe 3rd and 1. I think it was 4th and 1. And they ended up giving the ball to him, or it might have been 3rd and 1. They ended up giving the ball to him, and then he stuffed it first, but he fights forward for those extra yards and then finally gets the first down. That is what I'm talking about when I'm telling you that these backs from Alabama are dynamic. The rest of the game, it's on your backs, all right? Jalen Monroe, he's been good. He's been good as a runner. He's been decent as a thrower. Now, he's come up when it mattered. He made a good throw on 4th and 2 to Isaiah Bond, 30 yards downfield. Then he threw it to Jermaine Burton for the touchdown to give Bama the 17-7 lead. So Alabama is playing some really good football. If they can keep it up, now on the defensive side of the football, you have Dallas Turner, who got a sack late in the first half, which really, once I saw that happen, I think it was 3rd and 11 maybe. What Alabama was doing over that same drive, they were getting them to these 3rd and 6s, the 3rd and 8s, and then they got them to a 3rd down and 11. They were stopping them on the early downs, and then later when it gets to 3rd down, Carson Beck was utilizing his legs a little bit, and he was able to get the first downs for this team. And then guess what? Dallas Turner comes in. He wrecks Carson Beck and Georgia's party, leaves them with no points on the board, and eventually leads to a missed field goal, which false start on the field goal that he made, and then they kick the field goal again, and he misses a field goal. So you cannot discount how good this Alabama team playing or this Alabama defense is playing right now. Dallas Turner playing well. You have Braswell that's playing really well. Then you have Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs made a really significant play earlier on in the game where he forced the running back to cut back up the field, and then boom, mop up duty. You have the whole Crimson Tide D line come up and just smother Kendall Milton. So if you're really watching this game, break down that front seven from Alabama. Watch how they're doing on this Georgia front five, because honestly, they're having their way. Georgia's offensive line, they're doing good, but Bama's defensive line and their linebackers are really helping them out when it comes to the running back getting past the front four. Now, if you look at what Alabama's front seven, or excuse me, if you look at what Alabama's front five is doing on the offensive line, on the offensive side of things, they are tearing it up, and they're having their way with Georgia. They're throwing around like rag dolls. I talked a little about this earlier, but if they can keep that up and force it to go late into the game, and Georgia still has not scored, guys, this is Alabama's game to lose. I don't know if right now I'm not so sure that Georgia is capable of scoring another touchdown the way this Alabama defense is playing. Now, of course, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. I'm just talking here. This defense from Alabama is playing fantastic. And if they continue to play like this and they end up winning this game 24-7, 27-14, 27-17, whatever, if they are left out of the playoffs, then it is absolutely, it's atrocious. The committee is terrible. We already know that from having Florida State in the top four. Now, we talked earlier in the earlier show this week on Wednesday night, I believe it was at Aztecas when I had Matt Sims on the show. We talked a little bit about how, of course, they're undefeated. You know, they're doing their job, but you lose your starting quarterback. You lose a close game to a Florida team, which is not good. I get it's a rivalry. Rivalries are usually going to be those really good games, and they can come out of nowhere. These teams can compete like it's nothing. But if you really, really, really break it down, what is Florida State doing that Alabama's not? There's nothing that Florida State is doing that Alabama is not. And per Heather Dinich, Heather Dinich reported this, and it was talking about what one of the spokespersons for the College Football Committee had said earlier on in the year. They claim that it has always been the best four teams get in. Well, we know that. Look at 2014 Florida State. Obviously wasn't. Look at 2015 or 16 Michigan State. I can't remember which year. You look at TCU from last year. They just weren't. You had an argument a few years ago that guess who could have got in? The Texas A&M Aggies in 2020. Now, would they have done any better than? I mean, nobody was stopping Alabama that year, anyways. But did we really see the best four teams that year? We don't know. You know why? Because the College Football Playoff Committee is absolutely atrocious. And if something's not done, if they don't come up with a better decision-making process, then we're going to continue to see this even when it's 12 teams, and it's just going to continue to get worse. And I'm going to bring up my little guest picker here, and this is Biscuit, by the way. Biscuit, say hello to everybody. And but anyways, so really, if you break it down, if you think about it, there is nothing that Florida State is doing that this Alabama team is not doing right now, and Alabama is doing everything better. I'm sorry, but they are. You can go ahead and argue with whoever you want to. Alabama is doing everything better than Florida State right now. Florida State's got a good defense. We know that. Florida State's offense is not looking good right now. You know why? Because you lose your quarterback, and I'm sorry. It's just I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt. Now, I hate the story. I hate I hate the fact of the matter that Jordan Travis is hurt and how he got hurt. But I'm just trying to tell you, listen to me. Florida State's not a top four team, and they're not going to be. Now, then you have another situation. Say the committee decides to put Ohio State at that number 4 spot, even if Alabama wins this game. A complete hypocrisy. You know why? Let me tell you. Because if we're doing the best 4 teams and the strength of schedule actually matters, Ohio State's strength of schedule is not good. You can go ahead and look at it. You can look at how they played in Maryland. Go ahead. Look how they played the smaller teams. Look how they played Michigan State. I don't care. They played Penn State. Good job. Penn State's not good. You play Michigan and you lose to them. Really, your only real test this year other than Penn State, and Penn State's a little bit questionable. I'm not giving you leeway. Now, you put Ohio State in that 4th spot, and it completely degrades the whole selection committee anyways. It just does not make any sense to have that happen. Now, of course, we're thinking of hypotheticals, but I'm putting every situation into play, and I'm counteracting it, counter offering it pretty much, and giving you what I think and what really should not happen. If Alabama wins this game and they are not in the college football playoff, I'm sorry. I don't know. The college football playoff selection committee is a complete mockery, and everybody knows that by now. Look, say Alabama wins today. They end up pulling this game off. You're going to have number 1 Michigan. You're going to have number 2 Washington. You're going to have number 3, more than likely going to be a Texas Longhorn team that just showed up and showed out against Oklahoma State. Now, I get it's Oklahoma State. That's aside from the point. And that 4th spot, if you either have a Florida State team pending that, if they win the night or not, then you have, well, guess what? Ohio State. Is Ohio State going to be there? In my humble opinion, no, they shouldn't. They shouldn't be there if they shouldn't be there if Florida State loses. They just shouldn't. And I had the dogs coming around here and playing with the Christmas ornament, say Nala. It would be an absolute mockery if that ended up happening. I don't think it will, but we know how the college football playoff selection committee works, and we know what they're about. So I cannot really give you any more information as to that because I've pretty much given you all that I can. But if Alabama comes out, aside from the point from all the college football playoff talk, Alabama, if they come out, Roydell Williams, feed that man, have Jalen Milroe run around with it. The offensive line is giving him protection too. That is my thing. The offensive line, everybody. This is the offensive line that everybody was talking about at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, you had these guys come together, and we were talking about how this Alabama offensive line was going to be one of the best in the country. Well, they looked pitiful the first few weeks of the season. Now, look at what's happened. They look like the second coming. They look fantastic. And this is what's so mind-boggling about college football is because the first few weeks of the season do not determine the outcome of a team's season. Now, you had Texas earlier on. In week 2, they beat this Alabama team. Guess what? That same Alabama team was not the same Alabama team that it is now. Now I get if it all came down to it, Texas would still get in over Alabama. Rightfully so, because they have that big win against them. They have the head-to-head in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Now, let's take a look at how Alabama has come from week 3. Now let's put them together from week 12, week 13. Now we're in the college football, or now we're in the conference championship games. Let's put it like it is. Alabama's they were just not playing good. Well, now my cat's growling at the dog. Alabama was not playing good as a team. They were not. We can just go ahead and say that. You had Jalen Milroe, who did not look good at all in week 1, week 2, week 4. He didn't play week 3. He didn't look good, but he looked better in week 4 when he was benched. He got benched in the USF game. He comes back in week 4. He looks better against an Ole Miss team that their defense isn't the greatest, but you go out there and you show them what you can do. You do some nice things. Now, what happens? What happens if Georgia ends up winning this game? Then that's fine. You have Georgia at number 1. You have Michigan at number 2. You have Washington at number 3. And then probably more than likely you're going to have Texas at number 4. That is already a heck of a lineup for the college football playoff. Now, imagine this. What I talked about earlier, Alabama wins this game. Guess what? You are in for a mind-boggling sequence tomorrow at around 11 o'clock, 11:15. Because guess what? You've got several teams that are going to miss the playoff because of either 1, strength of schedule, 2, head-to-head, or 3, because the college football committee is just absolutely plain stupid. All right? I hate to go after them like this, but look, Florida State, we all know it. Florida State, I don't care what happens tonight. Florida State's not a top 4 team. Now, say they go out well, I say no matter what happens. Say they go out and beat Louisville by 50 with this, and their backup quarterback, Brock Glenn, by the way, third-string quarterback, because they don't know if Rodemaker is going to play tonight because of concussion protocol. But so if Rodemaker does not play, you have third-string quarterback Brock Glenn, who's eventually going to play for this Florida State Seminole team tonight. Say they go out and just absolutely pummel Louisville. I don't think that Louisville's that good, but if you do that, it's hard not to put them in. Now, if say they go out, they miss the bet, they lose that game, then I think it's a clear path. Alabama, you have to put Alabama in because Alabama has just beat the number 1 team in the country. Ohio State got a shot at the number 2 team in the country. Guess what? It didn't work out. They lost that game. So, therefore, Ohio State should not be in. Florida State should not be in. Alabama has to get that 4th spot. Thank you for my TED Talk. I hope everybody enjoyed the halftime show. I'm going to go ahead and log off because I do not want to miss any of this next half. Now, everybody's going to be speculating throughout this third quarter. Is Alabama going to be playing like they were in the second quarter? That first quarter, little bit wishy-washy. We didn't know it was going to happen. And then that second quarter, they come out firing on all cylinders. Guess what? This is the third quarter, and it is going to be fantastic. If this Alabama team can come out and they can run it down Georgia's throat like they've been doing, Alabama's going to win this game, and I don't think it'll be close the rest of the game. Wayne Dinsmore says, roll Tide, bro. Hey, Wayne, thank you. And I'm going to say this for you. Roll Tide. And I know my stepmom is in there, and she's going, Hayden, what are you saying, dude? You're never supposed to say that. I'm sorry, Ashley. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm sorry. But that's just how it's going to be. And Wayne, roll Tide to you and everybody watching. Thank you for watching my halftime show. Maybe we can do this a little bit more in the college football playoff, the semifinals, a championship game, whatever it is. Maybe we can do a little bit more of this, and I will have more content coming y'all's way. Hope y'all are enjoying it, by the way, and I will talk to y'all later. Roll Tide, go Dogs, whichever side you're on. Y'all have a fantastic rest of the game.